Cush Sovereignty 3, Abooksigun, the author Side of Nohere. Bill James Bolin and Shakida Dennis. Chapter Moja, The Devil in the Details. Years passed, and Kush took after his grandfather, Samuel. He was a prominent leader, an avid member of the tribal council, and spent plenty of time taking care of his grandfather's horses. Now 21 years old, he was saddened because Mammalian and Valley passed on the same day 3 months ago, and his beloved grandfather, Samuel, had passed several months earlier. During his depression, he spent most of his time caring for his loving grandmother, Martha, whom he referred to as Big Mau. On a day, as he was on his way to visit his grandmother, he heard a voice say, "I will better soon." Looking around, he says no one. Shaking his head, he continues on his way to her house. Big Mau was on her knees, pulling weeds and trimming up some plants in her garden. He ran to her side. "Big Mau, why are you doing all this work? I told you we would come first thing this morning." Big Mau's milles, plants will use all their energy to heal a dead leaf when all you have to do is cut off the dead leaves to help that plant stay healthy. Plus, child, I was doing this before you were born, and I'll be doing this before I die. Big Mau's words saddened Kush. "Big Mau, don't say that." Big Mau, saying his reaction, "Child, help me up. These past few months have been hard on you, but that comes with life. Your grandfather and me were happy, and Isau Valley and Kakahoya. They were always in good spirits, saying the glow of love on them, and that's all's about once for us to be here on earth happy. Me and Kakahoya were on our second marriage." Kush was surprised. "Second?" Smiling, Big Mau said, "Yes, child, your grandfather was 20 years older than me. Our first marriage was with people our age, and we mature differently according to what we got wrong. But women, well, most women mature faster than men anyways. So if you can't grow old with Someone, find someone who you can grow old with. Someone who makes you smile, and makes you happy." Your grandfather used to say, "It's better to be with an angry, frustrated, sad, uptight and whatever else is about is dealing with them with as a believer, than to be with a happy demon." The Torah is filled with stories of people being unequally yoked. "No, come on here, let me fix some tea, and we can sit on the gallery." As Kush walked his grandmother to the house, he was still in shock to learn that his grandparents had been married before. Big Mau lived alone, now that all her grandchildren were grown and gone, a common saying around these parts. She put on the tea kettle and pulled out some lemon and honey. "Chamomile tea," Kush sighed. "That's for reducing menstrual pain, Big Mau." Laughing, she said, "Well, you're not even halfway there, you know a little, but you finna learn about all these herbs now, son. These herbs will always have more than one benefit. Chamomile is good for menstrual pain but is also suitable for treating diabetes, lowering blood sugar, slowing and preventing osteoporosis, reducing inflammation, and is used for cancer treatment. It's good for preventing and treating cold symptoms, and the reason I'm making some for you. It helps with sleep and relaxation. Those bags under your eyes are big enough to go shopping with." Kush smiled as he grabbed a cup and poured some honey in it. As Big Mouth continued, she grabbed a mason jar filled with dried basil and sat it down on the counter. "There's a wide variety of basil here, smell this." Tush took a big whiff as Big Mouth continued, "That's sweet basil. It has a powerful smell and a recognizable flavor. No taste it." Tush takes a small bite as Big Mouth grabs a few more mason jars and passes them by Kush. "This here is lemon basil. It has that tangy lemony taste, while mint basil has a refreshing minty taste. All basil contains antioxidants. Many plants are more potent dried than fresh. However, with fresh basil, you gain the most benefits from them. They help you fight free radicals in the body, which lead to total damage and increases your risk of cancer, heart disease, arthritis, and diabetes. Always plant these herbs in a garden. They last all year long and they fight your fight for you. Lavender, cilantro, oregano, chives, rosemary, sage, lemon balm, chamomile, thyme, and mint. You can thank me later. That's why your grandpa and I lived so long, plus your grandpa walked 2 miles every day. Big Mouth poured them a cup of tea, and they walked outside and sat on the porch. "This tastes pretty good, Big Mouth." She just smiled. Silence covered them as they enjoyed their tea. Big Mouth sighed, "You know I can talk to plants, trees, and the leaves. I treat them rigged, they treat me rigged." Your grandmother, Kakahoya, was a seer and a chlorokinesis. She could see and feel things before they happened. She taught me about plants a long time ago and taught me that even plants have a spirit. We humans are the only things that have souls. Everything else has a spirit, and when I got enlightened, I thought she knew it beforehand, and that's why she helped me get stronger. She was a beautiful lady inside and out, didn't mean sharing a grandson with her. Kush looked at Big Mouth. "I didn't know that. Mama told me how." He paused. "Now, that was then Daddy told me how wanyenyekevu heard the trees and bears talk and how about created everything with a spirit, even if it didn't have a soul." Shaking her head, "And did you know your grandfather was the first to be enlightened with 3 gifts? He could say a person's heart, a double portion of wanyenyekevu, his father's gift, and his gift of understanding and speaking all languages. It was called." Kush sighed, "A linguist or polyglot, Big Mouth." "But no, I didn't know that. We never got to that part. Mama was telling me the story, and we stopped at Dung and Abooksigun, getting knocked out down river in New Orleans. Well, what was it to be called New Orleans, and we never talked about the war. They won too." Minor battles and stopped the army heading from El Paso, Texas, and another group was heading toward them from Phoenix, Arizona. That's about how far we got after I helped Valley get the nerve to approach Mama. She was head over heels in love ever since. I was happy for her. We didn't get together much after that because of the conflict with the Anakatas back then. Plus, between her relationship with Valley, that conflict, and the upkeep of the farm, it kept her busy. Taking a sip of tea, Big Mouth sighed, "Yes, Lord, she loved her some Valley." Well, son Abooksigun and Dung were just 14 and 10 when they got captured by some slave catchers and kidnapped on one of those ships that float above the water. Being only 14 and 10, those 2 brothers spoke with authority, and Abooksigun was also on a hell of a singer. Te led the entire trail, and the slaves took the ship and started one of the greatest revolutions of all time. Those men stuck by him for 13 years until Dung was killed, and Abooksigun took it body because Dung died, saving his life. They went from being slaves to being the most wanted men in history. He helped those slaves get enlightened on their way to New York, and Sabaoth gave them unique gifts. Kush asked, what happened to Abooksigun? I don't hear people talk about him much. Big Mouth said, that man just disappeared after Dung's death. His wife, who was with twins, and Dung's wife moved to Lake Providence after the New York uprising. They were sent here for their safety. You know that big, all along nife your father carries? Kush replied yes. Taking another sip of tea, she said, that nife belongs to Dung. He got it from an old man on that there ship. His name was Oldone. You know what? I'll tell you about the war and those men tomorrow, just come. Much earlier. You should know by now, I get up at Tano not no kumi midday is winning dawn around that time. Now, help me finish feeding the animals and get them some water before they have a revolution themselves. They fed all the animals and filled the water into the different watering troughs. Big Mouth took some of the water and washed the sweat from her face. Do you drink plenty of water, son? Nobody drinks water anymore. The earth is about 75% water, and our body is 55 to 60% water. People didn't drink water. They drank sodas, beer, and liquor but no water. What kind of sense is that? You need water to grow plants, and we need water to cleanse our bodies of toxins. Kush understood no one came to say Big Mouth anymore, so she rambled a lot to him. He was there. He leaned against the trog. Yes, ma'am, you and Daddy talked me that years ago, and I still drink plenty of it. Big Mouth walked too slowly for Kush, but he didn't mind as they finished their tasks. 45 minutes later, Big Mouth and Kush returned to the house. Son, I need some it called lemonade now. Care for some? Kush wiping the sweat from his brow. Yes, ma'am. She poured them both a tall glass and sat under the arch on it. Kush sighed aloud. I don't think he could be a slave, Big Mouth, out there in that heat from sun up to sundown. Big Mouth just smiled. Well, if you were on from an infant until an adult, you wouldn't know the difference. Understand the physiological, psychological, and spiritual damage it did to our people. Yes, it helps to learn who we were before, during, and after slavery, however, no one cared, and often, even we didn't. We didn't care about ourselves, family, or even our ancestry. We didn't care about anything. But time heals all wounds. There someone out there, some here, being a slave for someone rigged no. Our people's first enslavement was in Egypt, then Babylon, then the Trans-American, or Atlantic slave trade. The Trans-American was different from the rest of our enslavement because they hid our identity, and we had to find out who we were. We acted like fools when we knew who we were. However, our disobedience and pride put us in our predicament. We had to be humbled and humiliated to appreciate our existence in the first place. It was a whole new story after that. Then the Abenians enslaved us. We us. Something called the chromosome. You must understand that. The chromosome is passed from father to son. Ted na marker mbili is the background of at least 73% of all people in Africa today. The hue of the skin doesn't matter, it stose markers in the atatu mbili and the mbili na 15 35 are spread throughout Africa, but the mbili is their father. Kush had a lock on his face, and Big Mau laughed. One of these markers is the reason the Abenians hate us. Ord na has been our downfall since the beginning of time. Before the Abenians, man discredited us as an intelligent race of people for centuries. Since our people have been on this planet, Tessa Uperi and Jalos people were like they were when we were enslaved in Egypt, they hardened their hearts like that of Pharaoh. But it was the Moors, and they were Wakatilians kings and queens who civilized the wild wheat tribes from the Caucasus Mountains. They came to educate for over 700 years and eventually ruled over Spain, Portugal, North Africa, and Southern France, primarily Spain and Portugal. To enslaved? No. To teach and educate. But our beloved so-called first president of the United States, George Washington, was probably the first one, maybe not, I don't know. But he had a debate on how to enslave the Moors, saying, and I quote, if we would agree to take the faces and turbans of the Moors' heads and remove the sandals from their feet and enforce severe punishments, and to also swear a death oath between ourselves to religiously and faithfully not to allow anyone to touch the Moorish children who they really were or who their forefathers were, and only allow the Moorish children to be taught that they were truly Negroes, black people, and colored folks. 200 years from today the Moorish people would not know their nationality nor the national name of their forefathers. Also, they would not know from which land or ancestors they are descended from. Big Mau Laugus, I'm sorry child, I'm reminded of Ole Thomas Fuller, a 14-year-old slave. They started calling the boy the Virginia Calculator, child, he could solve complex math problems in his head. No, he could not read or write, so they started calling him a savant. Them white folks didn't believe he was intelligent, so they tested him. They asked him how many seconds there were in a year and a half. He said 47,304,000 within 2 minutes. They said, ok, then they asked him how many seconds a man has lived 70 years, 17 days, and 12 hours old. He said 2,210,500,800 seconds within a minute and a half. They told him he was wrong, and Ole Thomas said as Big Mau impersonated a slave's voice, top, massa, you forget the leap year. When they added the leap years, he was correct. Oneman said that it was a pity he had not an education equal to his genius, and he said and Big Mau started talking like a slave again, no, massa. It is best he had no learning, for many learned men be grateful. It proved to the abolitionists of that time as proof that enslaved Wakatilians were equal to anakatas or computants in intelligence. Big Mau paused for a second, saying, Tose troqued as anakatas started slavery again in the isles of California. When the Abenians first arrived and stationed themselves with the natives in the Congo forest of Africa, where they got their names Abeni, which means we asked for her, and behold, we got her. However, civil unrest with the Abenians and the Great Congo Impression occurred. The Abenians tried to destroy all who possessed their DNA or had any similar markers in their DNA. The Abenians attempted to kill all who had this rare and mutated DNA, but because of political reasons, they could not. Therefore, the Abenians banned anyone with such DNA. They could not live among the rest of the planet, making their lives a living hell through enslavement and other horrendous acts. If the rest of the world wanted their technology, they too would have to follow suit, or the Abenians would return home, and the earth would have exploded upon their departure. Of course, yo know tose people who carried this na were wakatilians and we are their descendants. Centuries later, computers and anakatas trafficked and enslaved us for sex, services, labor, and even used as pets by thousands. They shipped money to the isles of the Californias, where they were beaten and terrorized into submission before other anakatas brought them to do the bidding for the computers and their jobs, sanitation for the bubbleless cities in which the computers lived. They had ships coming and going from those islands worldwide, especially in New York, processing them on that piece of land where that Statue of Liberty once stood ain't that ironic. Man, they hated us with a passion. But it was Princess Anaya's idea, King wanyenyekevu's action, and Abooksigun. Who shoot that shit down? Kush shouted, Big Mao. Big Mao looked at Kush, boy, please, you know me, and your grandpa said. Kush sighed, ik know than daddy did, but not you. Big Mao just smiled, well, if you don't know, no you know, you know. Who in the hell am going to be married to Someone for all these years and we not be the same? Boy, it took you learned that love is a hell of a thing. Kush laughed so hard that he started crying. Smiling as she looked throughout her yard, Big Mao pointed out plants to Kush that many talked were words, you know, people said. Tomo their lawn and pass rigged bitese herbs. God made all this to heal us, for some, they rather use those chemicals, artificial chemicals that have your as coming back for more. They were not healing you, they were keeping the symptoms at bay. Big Mao grabbed a small wooden box and rolled up a cigarette as she said, this is that very sticky, icky. Kush looked at Big Mao, never heard of that. Big Mao took a drag, once it gets a hold of ya, she started talking for a few seconds, stumbling her words, she said, it's itchy, itchy. Kush sighed, Big Mao, that doesn't make sense, she said, hey, ik know, im hige already. This here is some good word. Im hige but ik know what the hell, im talking about. Let me come down a bit and tell you something. Big Mao, in deep thought, stared into space for a few minutes as Kush started picking some plants, and then Big Mao took a deep breath. There was on a particular ship called the Horseshoe. As the story goes, this ship had an evil, red captain and his 3 sons. Who had been collecting slaves for years. The business had become somewhat slow during this time, and he was cruising along the New Orleans Islands fishing when some of their slaves had an opportunity to escape and they did just that. This was when Abooksigun and Dung had fallen into the river and drifted down somewhere along that area. Abooksigun and Dung are both unconscious, floating through the Gulf of Mexico until they run aground on an unnamed island near New Orleans. Those slaves that escaped approached them, hold up, son. You need to backtrack so you can understand a few things. Do you know about the Thelathini war? Before Kush called and swear, she continued, it was the war between man and artificial intelligence. Thelathini spread toxic biohazardous and radioactive weaponry, killing a fourth of humanity. In desperation, men detonated a massive EMP that rocked the entire planet. It destroyed the Thelathini network and caused a massive earthquake that destroyed land masses worldwide. This was years before those Abenians came to Earth. California and large portion of western Nevada and Arizona fell into the sea. Everything past that point was basically called the Isles of California. Few people lived on these islands, except for a few anakatas scattered here and there. Over time, fewer, because of the radiation. On the edge of Arizona, rigged before you reached the Isles of California, there was a patch of land untouched by the devastation, the beautiful Castle Dome and the Cofa Mountains. A remote desert land with patches of green fertile lands here and there called Cofa. It has abundant wildlife and is a wonderland to see beautiful desert creatures in their natural habitat, jackrabbits, rattlesnakes, bighorn sheep, mountain lions, coyotes, bats, desert tortoises, and so much more. This region is where we will continue, the Isles of the Californias. The anakatas gradually started moving back into the area, capturing, training, and selling wakatilians, a lucrative business worldwide. One particular family had a monopoly on this trade since its beginning. This family owned much of Long Island, New York, and a few surrounding areas and produced wakatilian slave farms for generations. Producing slaves pretty much like Boston did during the Trans-American slave trade. Using these poor folks for slave labor and whatever else they wanted them for. The anakatas manipulated many countries like Ireland to give up their land and freedom for a better life in the Americas and worldwide. Their actions placed the computants, and a placed computants meant a placed Abenians. The Abenians didn't act like humans, however, unaware, humans were their meals, in a sense. They lived off the prices and worship of the computants, but they fasted of their souls once they did. Therefore, no was the the Abenians being spiritually connected, when you fed one, you fed them all. However, humans ate and madewaste. One person produced up to 50 liters of feces and 500 liters of urine, but there was no here to put their waste. When the bubbles kitties were erected, the slaves' job was to do something with that waste. The anakatas profited from the slaves by forcing them to clean the computants' waste. However, many slaves became ill, and some died because of E. coli, salmonella, shigella, and many other things. New York City was the most extensive metro in the Western Hemisphere, which covered what we once knew as New Jersey, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Northern Maryland, and Northeastern Pennsylvania. They had a vast station outside the bubble city as large as micros, consisting of older towns surrounding New York. Burlington, Vermont, Long Island, New York, Richmond, Virginia, Columbus, Cleveland, Ohio, and the entire land of the White Mountain National Forest. New York was a super bubble that reached miles high and almost touched the region of the ionosphere. So, the demand for slaves was significant. Te used human waste for hydrogen fuel, brick making, which te wakatilians made their home. Te methane gas produced by human waste was tapped and used to produce biogas. Biogas was used to generate electricity for both domestic and industrial use. They also used it as a fertilizer to increase the production of food. Medically, human waste was used for a fecal transplant, a procedure used when a person has harmful bacteria in the gastrointestinal tract. It was more effective than antibiotics and less costly than getting rid of the infected organs. Using the fetus of a healthy person would use tubing through the patient's anus and rectum or short frozen fecal matter through one's nose. Kush had a disturbed look on his face, and Big Mao laughed. Child, don't get into medical field if that bothers you. Oh, and since we are made from dirt, we shall return to the dirt. Did you know that human waste also contains rare earth metals such as gold, silver, copper, palladium, and vanadium? They can extract about 700 pounds of gold from the fetus of 1 million people using something they call leachates. Don't ask me what the fuck. Leachates is cause I still don't understand it using contaminated liquid to do something, just look it up, maybe you'll understand it. I know that these metals play an essential part in our bodies, maintaining joints and transmitting electrical signals. Back in the day, millions who lacked clean water used human waste. Big Mao took a deep breath, and why, it was called the omniprofessor or something like that. You can look that up too, but they simultaneously produced energy and clean drinking water. Also, it was used as a cosmic radiation shield to protect humans. Human waste and water were made of sweets called strata, which were used as a shield against radiation. Computers refused to use the waste from the so-called deceased wakatilians, so they created waste stations in their communities. I explained all of this to tell you this is what they used our people for, shitkeepers. For many years, until Abooksigun came along, the slave trade of wakatilians went from abundant to none. It ended slowly because the Abenians and many computers moved off-world to different planets because of Wanyenyekevu and his men, but Abooksigun ended it altogether. As you recall, they defeated the two troops of Abenians pursuing the last caravan with Jala and Anaya while they were heading to Tallulah, Louisiana, and Wanyenyekevu's son, Abooksigun, was lost along the way and floated toward New Orleans along with Doom. Two additional military forces, one from El Paso and another from Phoenix, were headed to Tucson to destroy the people. However, Obe and his battalions met the military troops from El Paso while Wanyenyekevu and his oldest daughters, Jala and Anaya, caught them from the rear. Devastated and defeated, the Abenians met their fate. Friedrich and the rest of the 12 stayed behind while waiting on the Abenians from Phoenix to advance. Their advancement abruptly halted, strangely. They stopped when Obe and Wanyenyekevu defeated El Paso's troops. At a standstill, they just waited in the middle of the desert. The troops from Phoenix were larger than any of the forces they had battled before. Wanyenyekevu and his daughters ratted home but still, no movement from the Phoenix forces as they drew tanks and larger vehicles. Still, they just stood there along Higuay Nane in Arizona. Wanyenyekevu sent Daniel, Queen, and the rest of their family, along with the battalion of hyenas and anyone who could control animals, Tokofa National Wildlife Refuge to flank the city of Phoenix. They waited for them to advance, but still nothing. After days of waiting and the curiosity of the standstill, Wanyenyekevu, Jome, Obe, and Friedrich investigated and surveyed the area where the Abenians stood uhile albases throughout the region were on high alert before they also got restless. The white Gave Queen and her children time to reflect on Abooksigun's absence. They all traveled a few miles to a cliff overlooking one of the islands of the Californias, realizing that Abooksigun was gone. Sitting on a cliff, Jala and Anaya sit there reminiscing about Abooksigun as they said a prayer. Sabaoth, give our little brother the strength to go on in your name. Anaya pours a drop of her sun into the ocean in honor of him. The content from the sun hit the sea, and it glowed, spreading as far as the eye could see. Moments later, the planet shook from its core. At that moment, the forces of Phoenix started howling in pain, unaware of what had happened. At this time, Mlezi appeared before Wanyenyekevu. The enemy has asked Sabaoth's permission to destroy you, but they denied him. However, he was permitted to do what he could without causing your death. However, Sabaoth has seen your faithfulness and love and given you favor by placing a henge around Abooksigun and has shielded him from the great deceiver's presence until he retrieves your gifts. As Mlezi spoke, the earth rumbled again. Wanyenyekevu turned to tell Mlezi, I shall do whatever Sabaoth requires of me. But Mlezi had disappeared. Wanyenyekevu calls out over the communicators to figure out what happened. At that moment, the Abenians' demonic forces were released from their barriers. They did not charge toward Tutson but toward Queen and Wanyenyekevu's family. Billions of minions and demonic forces crawled over each other, both large and small, even the ones on Higuainane, and rushed toward the islas of California. The minions' forces from the northern part of the world also headed in that direction. At that second, everyone's communication devices started flashing. The watchtower had triggered an emergency signal as the Abenians were directed toward Queen's location. Wanyenyekevu and his battalion headed straight toward Queen's city while Jome, Friedrich, and Obe quickly followed behind the herd, destroying them. Just the presence of Friedrich alone incinerated the herd, but they kept heading toward Queen. The Abenians tried to spread out, trying to avoid Friedrich, but Obe and Jome started picking them off. It was just too many. Wanyenyekevu had made it to their location as his men slowly arrived. The speedster was already there. A swarm of bats appeared before Queen and Daniel at Kofa National Wildlife Refuge, quickly transforming into Adam Lavase. He appeared before them and swore an oath to kill Wanyenyekevu's entire family because of what Anaya had done. Furious, Anaya attempted to throw water from the sea at him, but he vanished. Anaya did not know what she had done. It took Wanyenyekevu a few seconds to realize what Adam Lavase and Opidios were trying to do in central Mexico. Wanyenyekevu was about to do it with the stone around his neck, the sun, after he saw the fear on Adam Lavase's face as Anaya attempted to throw the water on him. Wanyenyekevu and Queen looked at each other and smiled. They ordered the speedster to gather all who could control the elements to the islands. The herd of minions approached the islands from the east and north, not even 10 minutes away. Wanyenyekevu ordered everyone to saturate all rivers, lakes, or any body of water with on a drop of the sun. As the Abenians approached, those who controlled the elements created thunderstorms using the water from the sea. At the same time, the speedster grabbed the people who controlled the elements and took them to the Gila River, and they directed the storms behind the minions as they closed in on Queen and M. They made Obe and Friedrich's job so much easier as the demonic forces quickly turned into a puff of black smoke. Before the Abenian could realize what was happening, it was too late, and they ran from the storm and were eventually driven off the cliffs into the sea, where they quickly became a puff of dark smoke. The ocean became thick as if an oil spill had devastated it. A black substance then turned into bubbling tar before dissipating into the air. Killing off on a third of Adam Lavas's kingdom, Wanyenyekevu ordered this done to all rivers, lakes, and seas throughout the entire region. From Indianola, Mississippi, to the isle of California. As they made their way toward all the Abenian cities in the southern region like El Paso and Phoenix, chilled the Abenians, and most of the computants soon vanished off world and super bubbles like New York. The computants thought it was the worst pandemic of 1918 and 2019 combined for the Abenians. Computants, unable to see the Abenians for what they were, saw them die in what many described as a melted meat suit of flesh as millions died, which forced them to escape of world. The hatred toward the mestizos or Wakatilians became a rage. The computants needed food and water to survive, and Abenians needed the prices of the computants, which were their only required substances to survive. Computants had to wear hazmat suits or sheet suits when they came in close contact with the Abenians and vice versa. Eventually, the Abenians, computants, and Anakatas raged a new war against the mestizos and Walcatilians worldwide. For the first time, the South was now clear of the Abenians' presence as the Wakatilians, who moved from Arizona and lived along Louisiana's Higuay Sitini Natano from Lake Providence to Tallulah, slowly moved back. Once Wanyenyekevu had the entire South drenched in the sun's rain. It took about 6 months before they departed, heading back to Arizona. However, many stayed behind because they came to love the area. Silence covered the room as Kush looked up and saw Big Mao had fallen asleep. Kush got up, tiptoed toward her, covered her with the shawl on the edge of her sofa, and left quietly.